Hello and welcome to the live stream Selling for Creatives here on YouTube and on LinkedIn. This is where we talk about how to sell in a way that actually feels good and that works. Quick heads up, we are going to have a Q&A at the end like we always do. This is interactive. We might even be able to squeeze in a hot seat if there is a request for such. If you've got questions or you want to give feedback live, drop it in the chat at any time and stick around at the end for a special offer. For those who are here live, I say we have people here live on LinkedIn as well as live on YouTube. Please drop it into the chat. Let me know in the comments, where are you tuning in from? Have you ever had a client ask for just one more thing and you felt like you couldn't say no? So we always like to open up with stories here. I don't think I'll ever forget this one. I've had a lot of creatives come to me with the same quiet frustration. Clients are walking all over me. I actually did a podcast on this on the Win More on Purpose podcast. You can find that, of course, on my LinkedIn profile, on Spotify, and many other places where podcasts are streamed with Michael Isaac, actually. But here's what I found. Almost every single time, it's not really because the clients are difficult, although there are definitely cases like that. It's because the price quietly said, you can. I had a client who was charging well below what they should have been, and they were always getting asked for just one more thing, and they felt like they just couldn't push back. And we worked on raising their rates, and more importantly, we repositioned the offer and the way they spoke about it. And they didn't really lose clients. There were a few that made sense to get rid of, but they didn't lose clients necessarily. They lost tension. And for the first time, they were able to feel in control. And it was a huge, huge shift in a completely different direction than they had had up until that point. It was really, really amazing. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Jakob Steinberg. I am a sales coach for creatives, helping agency owners and solopreneurs land high-value clients without feeling like a salesperson. When I first started this a little over 5.5 years ago now, I saw that creative agency owners and solopreneurs are amazing at what they do, but they run into two common struggles. Feast or famine sales, so they'll get clients, but it's inconsistent. 1 month, they're booked solid. The next, they are scrambling for leads, and selling just feels awkward. They don't want to sound pushy. Being nice isn't exactly helping them either, and they might be really good at what they do, but not having that clear sales process is holding them back. And they're stuck working project to project, relying on word of mouth, and just hoping for the best. And the shift we're making with them here is not just in learning how to sell, but in positioning themselves so clients are coming to them, mastering sales without feeling salesy, clarifying their offer and their sales process, building real confidence in how they sell so they know not just who to talk to, where to find them, what to say, and how to say it, but doing that all without feeling like they're chasing clients. I've had the pleasure of coaching some incredible creatives and entrepreneurs, including Chaya Fishman, Hoodie Greenberger, and Ellie Bosch, just to name a few that are pretty well known on the LinkedIn space. And agencies and 7-figure business owners have been able to grow even 50% in just 60 days of working with me. $100,000 level businesses have been able to grow even 150% in 60 to 90 days. And new solopreneurs just starting out have even been able to grow 200 to 240% in as little as 45 days. At the end of the day, I always tell people it brings my 3 biggest passions together: sales, teaching, and helping people, but not necessarily in that order. So we always like to have a solid teaching. And today I really want to talk about the hidden cost of underpricing. Okay, if you've ever felt resentful on a client project, if you've ever said yes when you really wanted to say no, it probably wasn't about the client. It was probably about your pricing. And here's what I've seen over and over and over again. You're really great at what you do. You're able to deliver, and you're not trying to cut corners. But if your price is too low, you're not just making less money, you're sending the wrong message. And what underpricing really says is you can ask for more. You can treat this more casually. This isn't a high stakes investment. Right? And there are 3 signs really that your price is sending the wrong signal. Number 1, You're getting vague pushback like, that seems a little high, but they can't really tell you why. That's not really an objection. That's uncertainty. Number two, you are getting yes, but suddenly they're nitpicking on every single detail. You're getting edits on edits. The vibe is shifting from collaborative to transactional. And number three, you're constantly over delivering. Not because it's needed, but because you feel like you have to prove that the price was worth it. You're working harder just to justify a number that you never felt confident to begin with. Here's the real kicker. Underpricing doesn't make you look generous. It doesn't make clients respect you more or your time, and it definitely doesn't lead to smoother projects. It makes things messier because a foggy price comes from foggy positioning, and foggy positioning creates foggy expectations, which leads to confusion, tension, and scope creep. Again, if you are here live today with us, please let us know in the chat. Let us know that you're here. Please feel free to ask us any questions. And the fix to these issues is sharpening your message so it sounds like leadership, not just a list of deliverables. It's framing the transformation so they see what they are really buying, and it's priced to match your positioning, not just your time or your tools. When that clicks, well, you're stopping to defend your price and you start attracting people who are already bought in, as opposed to having to really convince people and prove to them that this is correct. As we are live, like I mentioned a minute ago, please put into the chat, what are some questions you might have? Have you ever had a client ask for that just one more thing? Where are you feeling underpaid or underappreciated right now? And do you have a proposal or offer you want to tune up live? Perhaps we can walk through it. We could do it in the chat. We can have a hot seat. We definitely are going to have time for that today if it's what people are looking for. But let's get into some real life example. So one of my clients was completely burnt out. Okay. They were booked, but barely profitable. And a lot of the small edits that they were doing were turning into full-blown rewrites. Clients weren't being mean, but they weren't exactly treating the work like it had real value. So we systematically rewrote the script, right? We raised their rates, but more importantly, we rewrote how they described what they do. We clarified the transformation. We repositioned the entire offer. You want to know what changed? They didn't necessarily lose clients. They lost tension. They lost stress. They lost the need to prove to people that this was something that had been a good investment. And clients started respecting boundaries. They stopped negotiating. And for the first time, the creative actually felt like they were in control. Because pricing isn't just a number. It's a mirror for how people will treat the work and treat you. So while we're waiting for some questions here, I'd like to make an offer to everyone who is listening to this live, listening to this after the fact. If you have been feeling stretched, second-guessed, secretly resentful, it might not be your offer. I encourage you to take a look at your message. What are you telling people? How are you communicating? How are you positioning yourself? And this week, I'm going to be opening up a few, we'll call them messaging tune-up calls. Just for people that are watching this live, catching the replay in the next 24 hours, you can send me a DM if you don't want to do it in the chat. You can put it in the chat. You can drop the word worth, and I will DM you after the live so that you can have a spot. I'm only offering this to 2 people, and it's going to be 45-minute sessions. And what we're going to do is we're going to sharpen your positioning, realign your pricing, and reframe your offer so that it finally lands. Okay? Again, for those of you who are live, we have Leah Unger coming in from Munson, New York. Good morning, Leah. I'd love to hear if you have anything that is on your mind from what you have heard thus far today. And Leah is coming in from LinkedIn. We do have people that are live on YouTube, live on LinkedIn. Leah, as you were the first one to jump into the chat, if you want, you can feel free to put something that you're going through in the chat. We can redo it live. You can feel free to say, I'd love to come up on screen, and we can bring you up and we can discuss something specific that you are going through right now and try to rewrite that for you right here on the live. No pressure whatsoever, just an invitation if you'd like to come up here. Let's see if there's anybody else who would like to potentially join. If there are any other comments, just taking a look here on LinkedIn and YouTube as well. Okay, so while we're waiting for that, one of the things that I'll add is a lot of the times, as I mentioned a little, one of the biggest things that people are going through within this process is that people are walking all over them. Now, yes, there could be a bit of a confidence piece in that. There could be, a lack of organization. All of these types of things can play a role. It could be that things are just a mess. But ultimately, the power is in your hands. It really boils down to the skills that you have, the ability to understand how you're going to rewrite that script. And it all boils down really to understanding, what do you want? What is the business that you want? What type of clients do you want? How do you want that communication to look? What do you want? When you have an understanding of what it is that you want, we can begin to reverse engineer what is it that you need to do in order to get there. Whether it's here with me today, whether it's afterwards on your own, you're good at what you do. Believe in yourself. Believe in the work that you do. You are delivering. You're not trying to cut corners. You're truly trying to serve. We'll check your messaging. If you are frustrated, if you're hearing you can ask for more, if you're hearing people ask you for more, if you're hearing people treating you a little bit casually perhaps, if people aren't taking things seriously, you need to ask yourself these hard questions. Because like I said earlier, underpricing is not going to make you look generous. It's just going to give people the permission to take advantage of you. I want that to really sink in. Today. It seems like we don't really have any questions or comments from the people that are live today. I'll give it another 2 minutes until 10:30 Eastern time, 5:30 Israel time. If nothing comes in, then we will close things up. But if they do, we are more than happy to respond in the chat. Like I said, there is room and time for a hot seat today. So you can feel free to put that in as well, that you would like to come up onto the screen, as it were, and join us in this call. So no pressure, just an invitation. Happy to walk things through with you and see how we can help you. Again, you could feel free to DM me if you would rather do it offline, not in front of a crowd. No pressure whatsoever. The goal here is just to help people, give them something to think about, give real examples so that people can move forward. So we do have a comment here. The comment is from Leah Unger. Thank you, Leah, for being an amazing part of our live today. And the live says, setting boundaries is essential for healthy relationships and overall well-being. It helps protect your time, energy, and emotional health. Very well said. Very, very well said. I actually have a podcast episode that I mentioned, at the beginning of this, together with Michael Isaac, that really goes into managing clients and really getting a deeper understanding for how to set those boundaries and really make sure that you're making the most of them. But I 100% agree with you. And that also boils down, as I mentioned earlier, to understanding what is it that you want, because you can only set boundaries around the things that you understand. Right? If you understand that you do not want to be, let's say, as a working mother, working evenings because you want to be able to spend time with your kids, set clear hours. Don't be responding to messages between certain times when you want to be taking care of your kids. Don't do it late at night. Set clear boundaries. These are the times that I'm willing to work. These are the times that I'm going to be responsive. Please send me an email. Let there be paper trails. And it's extremely important, as Leah mentioned, for protecting your time, your energy, and your emotional health. So thank you very much, Leah, for that. If there's nobody else that wants to jump in, it seems that this is pretty straightforward today. And I thank each and every single one of you for being here today, giving this your time. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I want to wish you a fantastic rest of your day. Until next time.